What's up, everybody? Sorry, I'm a little bit late. There was just some things that had going. We had stuff going on, and sometimes things don't fall according to plan. So today, I have a very special guest on my podcast. You know, he's from Florida. He gets a lot of, well, crap from the left always, because he is a Trump supporter, of course. That's one of the most evil things that you could be in America these days. That opens you up for ridicule, insults. Sometimes you get violently attacked. If you have Trump on your car or anywhere, they're allowed to, vandalize it and whatnot because, well, you're a Trump supporter. So I have this special guest with me. His name is Adam Francisco. He is in the Florida area. I'm going to add him to the stream right now, and you can say hello. Oh my
What up?
God.
Hope you guys are doing great. Jen, thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate you.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. You got the cutest little dogs I got acquainted with. We have Cloud and what was the other dog's name?
Cloud and Raindrop.
Cloud and Raindrop. What is the significance? Look at look at this dog. Look at her. She has got
Yeah,
the
this little,
ball in her mouth.
she always wants to play this one, so she's a very distracting dog. I don't know why I picked weather terms, but I thought it'd be cute to have like matching names. But on a side note, I want to take the blame for being late because
Don't.
um, I'm going through a medical crisis right now, and so that's my fault. Everybody, a little out of our control.
Right, right. And we all, have to take care of ourselves and our health. It comes first. And as you know, being a content creator yourself, it's really hard to put yourself last, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. I mean, I want to encourage everybody just to start things off on a very serious note. I want to encourage everybody who's watching to make sure they go to their doctor and get their blood checked. Do it at least once a year because your blood can give you so many indicators of your overall health, things you should look out for, things to avoid. And I didn't do that for 15 years. So I
Yeah.
waited a bit too long to get to the doctor. And by the time I went, I was told my kidneys had failed. So don't be like me. Go to the doctor every year and get your blood checked.
Absolutely. Especially like I'm over 40. Yikes. But after 40 years old, you do need to go every year, every single year. And especially men, you guys never want to go to the doctor. Never.
That's right. That's right.
It's not weakness if you go see your doctor. It could be life changing. It could, like Adam had to find out the hard way that his kidneys were shutting down. And I hope you get that transplant. I really do, because that's got to be difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on a machine 11 hours every night. So, just from a logistical standpoint, it's completely changed my life because before this disease, which I've been dealing with for a year now, I was living out of hotels and Airbnbs across the world. Thailand, Vietnam, Europe, Japan, Mexico. I didn't have an address for 5 years, which was my lifestyle. People always says, "Don't. Where do you live?" I said, "I don't live anywhere. I live out of hotels." And it was really one of the most incredible lifestyles I could have ever imagined. And by the way, I brought my dogs with me to all the countries. So my dog,
Wow.
my Yorkie here has been to 10 countries with me. So this has really just changed my life. It's completely grounded me. I'm now stuck here in Florida. I love Florida, by the way, but I'm stuck here because I can't travel right now.
Mhm.
So yeah, just don't be like me and go get your blood checked.
My goodness. So you're basically living a vagabond lifestyle, like just wherever you touch down at. And that's so cool that you brought your dog with you because it's like a piece of home. Did you grow up in Florida,
No, I grew up from New York City.
New York?
In New York City, yep. And I always said when I started traveling, I said home is where your dogs are. That was kind of like my life. As long as my dogs were with me, I always felt that I was at home. Even when I went to like a new hotel to stay in or new Airbnb, if my dog were next to me, I felt like I was at home. So that's really it was the most incredible thing that I was able to do that for 5 years.
That's amazing. And it's so cool that you have your road dog with you. We were talking about mine. I have two dogs. One's a massive German Shepherd. She's about 100 pounds, all
Man,
black. She's so gorgeous. I've had her for 5 years. That's my son's dog. So she's with him down in college because, again, he's away from home, and he's like, "Mom, I really can't do another year without my dog." And they're so bonded. It's like it's crazy. And then I got the Rottweiler who's massive. Her head is like this big, and I can't take
Wow.
her anywhere cuz she's protection trained. So unless she knows you,
Oh,
she is not friendly and not approachable. And I did that on purpose because this dog, she's really good with my son, my mom, myself, and anybody that I bring over. She is kind of leery, but when she gets to know you, rubber belly, and she's cool. But any strangers can't approach her. Veterinarians can't approach her. She's got to be muzzled, you know. And I like it that way because hey, somebody comes in here, you know,
right.
no offense. I used to have Yorkies, right? But somebody comes in here, they would be like, You want to know where the safe is? But, you know, the Rottweiler, on the other hand, it's pretty deterrent. That's a deterrent in itself. And I love the breed.
Absolutely.
I've had them most of my life. I think she's my seventh Rottweiler that I've had. And
Wow.
my German Shepherd's my third that we've had in the family. So it's good with those breeds. But you get to travel with yours. I can't, and I'm so jealous of that. But Florida is where you're calling home now these days.
Yeah.
What do you think about New York City since before to today? What the hell has happened to New York City?
So I'm from New York. I'm from Queens. I grew up there my whole life. I lived in Manhattan for from 2010 to 2015 in these really nice apartments called Stuytown, which kind of looks like projects, but it was for white people. Some people used to call it like the white projects or the rich projects.
Yeah, right.
My rent was $3,700 a month for a one bedroom apartment. So I loved New York. I'm not gonna lie. I loved living there in the 2000s, the 2010s. There was a really big nightlife. The clubs were fun. But what happened is the city started getting very corporatized. A lot of the cultural institutions got removed and replaced with like Chase Banks and Starbucks, which to me automatically killed a lot of the vibe. And also, what it did is it pushed a lot of the nightlife out to Brooklyn. That's
Yeah.
one thing I noticed is the bars started getting emptier in Manhattan, and they were starting getting busier in Brooklyn. Um, but I personally was getting a little sick of the money first mindset of New York. I was a 1% income earner when I was living in New York. I was making a lot of money. I was doing really well financially, but I was also drinking 7 nights a week with my clients, my girlfriend at the time, and my friends. So I was basically a functional alcoholic, and I basically realized I would probably die a multimillionaire at 40 if I kept at that lifestyle. So I basically made a decision in January of 2015 that I was going to leave and move somewhere warm. So my first step was Los Angeles. And
Oh
6 months later, I moved out to LA, and I lived in Marina Del Rey for 3 years out there. And I got to say, I was bi-coastal at the time, 2 weeks New York, 2 weeks California for 3 years, and that was honestly the greatest lifestyle because I was making New York money, but living on the beach in California. So it was like the best of both worlds. I
yeah.
really was able to build the dream lifestyle for myself. Um, but it really wasn't until 2019 where I started to look into politics for the first time. And that's when I started becoming a Trump supporter. And it just became this whole whirlwind of COVID and BLM starting in 2020 that I looked back at my time in New York and I realized that I was living a liberal lifestyle for so long. I was going to all the pride events. I was sleeping around recklessly. I believed in abortion. I didn't care like if I got a girl pregnant because I could just abort the baby. Like I didn't care. It
Right.
was a clump of cells. It was a fetus. So my entire life was just like living this liberal ideology. And it was only until I took a step back and left New York where I looked back and was like, I was kind of being a terrible person. Now that I'm Republican, I'm finally registered Republican. I've become pro-life. The woman I date, I want to make sure that they're the right one. I don't want to just sleep around anymore. I don't want to accidentally get a girl pregnant anymore. I don't want a girl to abort my baby. If I
Right.
ever get pregnant, that's it. I want to keep that child. So my entire like mindset has changed. I think I've gotten more mature. I think I've gotten a lot more responsible as a result of my mindset change. And There are a lot of other things about New York that I don't like anymore. The crime, we're seeing all the time, the stabbings, people getting thrown to the subway. You can't defend yourself. Look at Daniel Penny.
I
This man
know.
tried to protect his citizens, and now he has to go through a whole trial for murder. When really, 20 years ago, he would have been a hero. He would have been considered a hero, and now he's considered like a radical extremist. So there are a lot of things why I fell out of love with New York, and it's really policy driven by the Democrats. These people don't care about safety, law and order, law abiding citizens. They don't give a shit about you. And now you look at Pride Month, you see New York, they've had these events where these people are just dancing topless in the pools, trans men, trans women. And if a straight person did this, they'd be in jail immediately for public
Right.
indecent exposure. But not you and your pride. You do whatever the hell you want, you get away with it. So New York has just become a cesspool, in my opinion. Money hungry, unhealthy alcoholics, bad weather. I hate the
Bad
subway,
bad
nasty,
drivers.
bad drivers. It's expensive. So there's just a list I can go on as someone who lived in New York, grew up in New York, and I just love living in warm weather by the beach. Life is better by the beach. That's what I've realized.
Yeah, yeah, it's very hard for me because I get the guilt trip if I say, "Listen, I'm packing up and I'm going to Florida." And I get the guilt trip. "Oh, you're gonna leave your son up here. You're gonna leave the house. You're gonna leave me by my mom." And I'm like, "Well, here's the thing. All right, we'll keep the house here in Cleveland because it's by a water source. We don't have hurricanes, but for the winter times, yeah." So I'm thinking, all right, we're gonna keep the house here. I'm gonna go buy my house in Florida and then rent it out for the, I don't know, couple of months out of the year that I'm not
Hell yeah.
there, and go back and forth. And that way, when we die, my children have a home in Cleveland and they have one in Florida that they can bounce back and forth to one another. Because I don't. Ohio, as you know, is a red state, and we don't mess around with the parental rights bullcrap like New York, Chicago, or California. We don't play that. We don't play it where a lot of us are pro life here. A lot of us are pro Trump here. But a lot of people aren't. And it's so sad to see that, back in the day, we never saw, like, if you voted for Bush or Clinton, we never seen people fist fighting or destroying stuff or burning shit down, looting, rioting. We saw was the LA riots. That was in our lifetime, anyways. And where it's gotten today, it's like if you have Trump 2024 on your car, on your window, you're getting told on, like, "Hey, there's a Trumper in front of me in this line. I hope." And I knew from rip, Adam, I knew that this liberal, this radicalized liberal behind you was hoping that either you'd get your coffee spit in or dumped on you or something bad. How is it? And then you're called, what do they call you? A xenophobe?
Yeah, they called me xenophobic, and that's why I called him a white liberal savior, because it's funny that he's this white guy, right? He's a white guy that hates Trump, so we could assume he's a Democrat or a liberal, definitely not
Right.
a Republican. And you have me, an actual Mexican immigrant. I immigrated from Mexico when I was a newborn, when I was an infant. Legally, I want to be clear, I'm a legal immigrant here in the U.S. So I just thought it was hilarious that he's claiming to be looking out for immigrants, but I'm the actual immigrant, and he's judging me. So I was
Right.
like, why are you the white liberal savior in this situation? Like, you're calling an immigrant a xenophobe? That makes negative sense.
He probably thought
So,
you were a white guy,
the one
really
thing I want to
tan.
tell you, right? He thought I was a white guy. The one thing that I thought was really interesting was, as I was driving to that Dunkin' Donuts, I noticed he was following me on the highway. So by the time I got to the Dunkin' Donuts, my radar was already up that this guy was up to something. Um, and I was right. He did follow me off the highway to the Dunkin' in order to pull that bullshit that he did. But luckily, the cashier was on our side. She's a Trump supporter, a Bolivian immigrant. Her family loves Trump. And also, that Dunkin' Donuts knows me because I go there every freaking day. So that whole crew, even the liberals there, know that I'm a Trump supporter. They know my dogs. They give me a pup cup every time I see them for free. They don't care that I'm a Trump supporter because we've already established that I'm a nice guy and that we have conversations every day that aren't about politics. So
Right.
the guy really did it at the wrong place at the wrong time.
He had no clue. And it's great that you can have liberals and conservatives in one establishment put aside their political differences and judge based off of your character, which is what we should be judging people based off of. But when you have people like him pulling that, it's like you prove that who is the real extremist here? Who is a real extremist here? It's
Exactly.
the people on the
Exactly.
left. Do you remember the speech Joe Biden gave? And it was ominous and it was red and it looked like a circa 1942.
Oh
It
yeah.
was very reminiscent of the big H person. I can't even say his name on YouTube, but it was very reminiscent of Nazi Germany. And he's like the MAGA Republican extremist. White supremacy is the leading problem in this country. And I'm looking at him like, dude, you are the face of white supremacy. You, Joe Biden, for your entire career, have crapped on Indians, Mexicans, Black people, Middle Eastern people. You've crapped and insulted and offended everybody. And you are the racist, not Donald Trump. What I can't even anymore. And it's like, no. You there's no extreme. There's some extremists on both sides. I agree with that. But for the most part, I hope you can agree with me on this. The real extremists are the leftists.
Yeah, I mean, look at the 1994 crime bill that he helped author, where it basically separated crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. Same drug, but what that did is it targeted the black community and it gave white, Wall Street brokers lenience.
Yeah.
Look at three strikes, you're out. You get caught with three nonviolent marijuana offenses, you spend your life in jail. And then you look at Hunter Biden, his son, who has literally directly benefited from having a white presidential father. The same crimes that Hunter Biden's done, getting a gun illegally while on drugs, you know, rappers have gone to jail for years. And Hunter Biden is never going to see a single day in jail. So, Joe Biden, as you just said, he really is the face of white privilege. He's also face of the political machine. And it's so funny to me when liberals are chanting, "We want change, we want change." So you vote for Biden? I get Obama was changed in the way that he was a black man. So I understand that. Trump was also changed in that he's not a politician. Joe Biden is the best example of not change at all.
Right, right. I mean, if anything, it goes to show it's the state that our country is in right now. I can't even. My mother, my father, when he was alive, their 401ks since Biden took office have tanked. And they,
Everyone's has.
right. And the policies that he has undone, the black home ownership under Trump was up, the black unemployment rate was down, and it's really sad that people have literally believed all of these lies that the media and the Democrats have pushed onto President Trump. And it's like, I feel so terrible for Donald Trump. I do. I don't like everything he says, and I don't agree with everything that he says, but he speaks the truth. Is he brash and is he very rude at times? Of course, he's a New Yorker, right? People
Yeah, that's
that,
exactly it.
have that New York attitude, that's where that comes from. And I was excited. I voted for Obama twice. Uh he promised change as well and didn't
We got
deliver.
change. No, we got change. We got a lot more racism. We got
Yeah.
BLM. We got some change.
Yeah, for not the good way though, not in a
Correct.
good manner. We
Correct.
backslid majorly. And how do you feel about this one? Do you feel like Obama's still running things like his third term?
Yeah, without a question. I mean, he even joked about it. The one thing about the elites, the untouchables of society, which Obama and Biden are apparently, is that they tell us directly what they're doing to our faces. and there's literally nothing we could do about it. So when Obama, I think he was talking to, was it John Colbert? He was basically talking about how he would love to run a third term where he would stay in his basement with an earpiece and have someone like Joe Biden be the front man for his third term, which is most likely exactly what is happening today. And they
Right.
told us this to our faces and laughed about it. And what
You
can we
know,
do?
right, Adam, I think they do that a lot. I think they do that a lot.
Exactly.
I think because they know they're untouchable.
Hmm. They are. They do it with COVID too. I mean, there was a movie that came out in 2020 about a pandemic. I think it was called Songbird, and it literally mimics all the shit we dealt with: masks, quarantines, isolation, social distancing, lockdowns, vaccine passports. It was a movie in 2020, and it's like this is just a warning of what's to come. So I've always said that movies predict the future and movies tell us what's going to happen in the future. I
Yeah.
really do believe that. I'm going to go a little bit off the deep end here, but when you look at technology that exists today, there's things such as CRISPR, which allows you to alter DNA. There are ways that you can alter the gender of your baby before it's born. This is happening a lot in Korea, for example, where you have designer babies. Well, what's to stop these people from, creating super strong babies or super intelligent babies? Do you think that this hasn't been done yet? We cloned sheep back in 1997, Dolly the sheep.
Dolly.
Do you
Yeah.
think do you think that we haven't cloned humans yet? Do you think one country hasn't done that yet? Of course they have. The technology exists. One of my dogs died 3 years ago. I paid $2,000 to have his DNA duplicated. He's now cryogenically frozen, and I can clone him whenever I want for 50
50
grand.
grand. Right. I've
I,
looked
but
into
I
it.
can clone, but I can clone him. So my point is, when you think about all these technologies that exists, cloning, DNA manipulation, and designer babies, are you telling me that some country like Russia or China hasn't already created super soldiers? So then you got to
Well,
look at the movies and you got to look at comic books, right? Captain America came out in the 1940s, kind of as a reaction to the World War II.
yeah.
So then you have finally Marvel movies because we have the technology today to make superhero movies look real. They're basically, in my opinion, showing us what already exists, but preparing us for when it comes out in 30, 40, 50 years. In our lifetimes, maybe yours because I'm terminally ill, but in our lifetimes, we may see super soldiers and we're going to be like, that's normal because we've seen them on TV and movies for the past 30, 40, 50 years by that time when it comes out. So I
Right.
truly believe that these movies are just telling us everything that's going to happen. Predictive programming, they call it.
That's absolutely insane. And what's funny that you bring that up is that I just watched a short documentary on China, and they literally have these kindergarten age children, ages 5 and 6, that are training like boot camp style, army crawling through the mud and barbed wire, screaming and chanting, "Kill Americans." So, is it that far fetched? Yeah. No, it's not.
No, they're already going through the training at such a young age that by the time they're 18 years old, they're already going to be super soldiers, even if they have no genetic modifications. But again, 30, 40 years in the future, take that early training, combine it with some kind of genetic modification, you will have soldiers that can run 2.5 minute miles coming out of China. You will have soldiers that can bench 1,000 pounds coming out of China, 2 times what any American soldier can do. So I really do think that we're in a race right now for super soldiers. Maybe we already have them, maybe we don't. I have no idea. No one knows what's going on. Apparently, we have soldiers in Ukraine right now, American boots on the ground. We don't know what's going on. I have no idea. So, I'm a big superhero comic fan. I always wished I got bit by a spider so I could be Spider Man. Don't think it's going to happen. Um, but I just find it so interesting that movies typically predict the real world.
It's insanity. It really is. It's scary. You know, we have it's funny that you said that about Ukraine because I was just talking about this on my stream earlier this morning. I'm like, if we have, which there probably already are American soldiers over in Ukraine, and if Vladimir Putin sees that, he's going to see that as a sign to retaliate even more. Like Nord Stream 2 wasn't enough. Biden helping out Zelensky just to cover up their crimes wasn't enough. Like, people underestimate Vladimir Putin, which I think he's dealing with a terminal illness as well. So what the hell does he have to lose? He's already been
So
in power.
I want to say two things. Number one, I believe that there are American soldiers on both sides of the war. There are a lot of pro-Russian Americans. There are a lot of pro-Ukrainian Americans, and I do think that we're there on both sides. That's just
I
the
do too. I
reality.
think we're playing the field because look at the business dealings that Joe has and Hunter have with China. You
You got
know,
it. Yeah, war is good for the elites. You got to understand something. I mean, they've said it themselves. Volatility is where you can make a lot of money. So just based on that alone, people want war, and war is just very healthy for the economy and for the elites. So
for
there's a
business,
lot of
right?
motivations for it. But the second thing you said was Putin might be terminally ill, and that might have changed his mindset. And let me tell you something. Me being terminally ill, also, let me tell you, it does change your mindset. I've been doing this political thing for 3 years, and generally, I try to be the nice guy. I try to have reasonable conversations with people on both sides, and I think I do a pretty good job at that. But now that I'm terminally ill, the death threats don't scare me anymore because I'm dealing with an actual death threat of a disease.
Right.
And also, it's emboldened me in a way where I will actually now go out and actively try to debate left wingers about abortion. Whereas before, I was kind of scared to do that. I didn't want to be awkward. I didn't want to trigger anybody. But now that I'm terminally ill, I'm like, fuck it. Like, we need to, be out there making them look foolish to expose their hypocrisy, to expose their inconsistency and logic. And I do that now. I was at the Pride Parade in St. Pete last week,
Uh-huh.
and there were a lot of like pro-choice petitioners, and a lot of them are black. So I walked up to them and I said, "How do you cope with the fact that the abortion industry targets black babies?" And every single one of them didn't want to talk with me anymore. They walked away. They could not answer that one question. You
Right.
are encouraging the death of your own community. If Black Lives Matter, why are you killing 500,000 black babies a year? Why are you for that?
Right.
And they could not answer that once. They all walked away, and they look stupid. So I do
Yeah.
that now. I do that because I have this disease. So it does change your mindset having a terminal illness.
It absolutely does. And a lot of people take their life and their health for granted that they don't have to be, well, some people have to be plugged into a machine for 11 hours, such as yourself. And it's like you do take a lot of that for granted. And good that you've used that and turned it into a positive to be more brave as far as approaching the radicalized left. They are not so scary after all. They bully, they destroy, they demolish, they loot, they riot. It's absolutely absurd that Antifa, BLM have destroyed every city that they have encroached upon, but no charges filed. Nobody's in jail. Who's paying for this? But the taxpayers have to pay to clean up after they destroy a city. It's insane. And that we were almost having Donald Trump list them as, well, I think he did say it, like there are domestic terrorists. And
He
whatever
also
happened to
he
that?
also he also labeled the Ku Klux Klan as domestic terrorists too,
Oh, absolutely. And
because
it's
they
like,
are, and he's against them.
yeah, but see, Joe Biden will do the eulogy for Robert Byrd and say he's such a great guy. He's a recruiter for the Ku Klux Klan. What do you mean he's a great guy?
Yep.
According to cancel culture, according to the left's ideologies and their way of life, wait a minute, hold up, something ain't right here. They did that 20 years ago or 30, whatever. Oh, well, he needed to be canceled. And it doesn't get any more canceled than death, but still, Joe
Right.
Biden, you're supporting this. It's
Correct.
so hypocritical. And like when you went to Pride in St. Pete's, I'll be in St. Pete's as well when I come see you in a couple of weeks. And oh my God, Adam, the pro abortionists, especially the black community, Margaret Sanger, her whole mission was the genocide of the black race. And she invented and created Planned Parenthood. It's like, how do
So
they
I
not
mean,
see this?
I want to say one thing you mentioned earlier about BLM. So the damage that they've done is actually really deep. because what they've done is they've demonized police to the point that a lot of black people and brown people hate the police now. And now you have black and brown people less likely to comply with police. So they've been emboldened in a way, which is just dangerous for everybody. It creates a really dangerous situation. Complying with police is always the best thing in the world that you can do, in my opinion. You deal with
Facts.
anything else in the courts afterwards. The second thing that it's done is people just don't have respect for police anymore. And also, the third thing is police are scared to do their jobs.
Yeah, a
So
lot of them
being a
quit.
police officer is so dangerous, and police officers have millions of interactions with people every day, every year, millions of police interactions. And how many times do they end up killing an unarmed person? Well, the data says about 30 times a year. It's about 20 white men and it's about 10 unarmed black men every year. That's it. Now, it should be zero. Obviously, in a perfect world, I like it to be zero, but there is going to be human error. And when you look at the millions of interactions, and you look at the data, police are actually doing a really, really damn good job.
They
They're doing
really
a
are.
they're doing a damn good job. You know, I got pulled over in St. Petersburg, actually Clearwater, last week. I was going 59 in a 40, which to me is not excessive at all. It's a reasonable speed, but
Especially in
he pulled
Florida,
me
y'all
over.
drive like you're crazy.
Exactly. So the guy pulled me over, and he came to my window. Turns out he was also a Hispanic officer.
Mm.
And I had my hands on the steering wheel. I had my Trump hat on. I had Trump on my window, Trump on the back window. And he asked me, he said, "Sir, why are you speeding?" And I actually filmed the whole interaction. The problem is my AC made the sound very difficult to hear, but I have the video as proof. And he said, "Why are you speeding?" I go, "I'm just heading home. It's been a long day." And he said, "All right." He goes, "Are you a YouTuber?" I go, "Yes, I am." He goes, "What do you do?" I go, "I do politics. I'm a Republican YouTuber. I fight for Trump." And he was like, "Wow, that's really cool. I appreciate that." And I was like, "All right, so you know, are we going to do the whole ticket thing here? Like, what's going on?" And he said, "No, you're not getting a ticket." He goes, "I just wanted to ask why you were speeding." And I read between the lines. He was a Trump supporter. He saw my car with all the Trump stuff. He saw me as a fellow Latin male. He didn't beat me up. He didn't abuse me. He didn't even give me a ticket. He just gave me a warning. The
Right.
police, when you treat them with respect, you show them dignity, you show you comply, you have cute dogs in the car, you're probably not going to get a ticket. I've been pulled over for speeding 5 times. I've gotten one ticket because all the officers saw the dogs, saw my compliance, saw my respect, and saw the Trump stuff on my car.
Right. Now, if
So,
you would have
what,
gotten out of
what,
your car screaming and yelling and hooting and hollering, waving your arms and getting physically violent with them and gaslighting them as to why are you pulling me over? It's because I'm Mexican. Then, of course, that's going to welcome some sort of, well, resistance and definitely getting a ticket, if not more.
anytime in life when you act defensive or aggressive, you're going to get a bad reaction. Think about if you go on a date with a woman, right? And she says something normal like, "So what do you do for work?" And your response is, "Why do you care what I do for work?" You think she's going to react favorably? That's a defensive response. It's a big turnoff,
Yes.
right? So that applies to everything in life. And it's human nature. When you act like a dick, you're not going to get the best treatment. And especially with police who don't know how dangerous you are. So the best thing to do is put on some nice Celine Dion in the background in your car. Celine Dion is very non-triggering. Maybe some Taylor Swift. Keep your hands on the steering wheel.
Come on
Turn your
now.
hat. Turn your hat forward. Or my hat says "Woman for Trump," by the way. Turn your hat forward,
Nice.
or
Very nice.
take it off. Put the windows down, and put your hands on the steering wheel and say, "Hello, officer. What did I do wrong? Why am I being stopped?" And be
Right.
polite. You won't get
Absolutely.
arrested. You won't get killed.
Absolutely. No, you won't. My great uncle was a chief of police of a city called North Randall, Ohio. It's a suburb of Cleveland. You know, I grew up in a mostly predominantly black neighborhood in Maple Heights. It's right literally next door to North Randall. And my great uncle told me exactly that. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Don't fight with them, don't argue with them, don't make any sudden movements, let them know if you're grabbing for your driver's license or whatever. Do not be rude, be cordial, don't give any resistance, and you're going to be just fine. And I have instilled that, and it's in my brain at all times. Now, when I was abusing drugs, like when you were in New York and you were an alcoholic, I was a drug addict, and I was always like, oh, they pulled me over and put me in jail again. And it's like, wait a minute, if I wasn't breaking the law, they couldn't have arrested me. And plus, I was acting a fool, calling them every name in the book. I was going low blows with their wives and everything else. Nobody was safe because I was angry because I was getting arrested. How dare you arrest me? And when I got sober, and it'll be 9 years this November 1st, things, I completely changed my whole outlook. Just like you, was driving. I just had dropped my son off and I was late for my stream, and I had borrowed my mother's brand new car. So I wasn't used to the Mazda, and I dropped my little one off, and so I would notice the time. I'm like, oh my God, I'm streaming at 2. I have to go. So I just kind of like went a little fast, and I got clocked at 84 in a 65. So I
Not
kept
that bad.
no, I mean, in Ohio, you don't want to particularly do more than 10 miles an hour in this state, or else you are subjected to getting a ticket. But even if you are, I pulled right over. I had my insurance cards and my driver's license ready. When he walked up, I said, "Hello, how are you, officer? I'm pretty sure I was speeding. I'm really sorry. I'm late for my stream." He was like, "Did you get?" He asked me for my driver's license and my insurance card, which I handed it over readily. Didn't scream at him, yell at him, call him horrible names. I was like, "Yeah, I was expecting a speeding ticket because I was speeding. I broke the law, but I was wearing my seatbelt." He goes, "Have you had any tickets in 2 years?" I said, "I haven't had nothing since 2013," and that's the truth. And he was like, "I'll be right back." He ran my stuff. I stayed right there. I didn't take off on him. I stayed right there. He handed me my driver's license and my insurance card back, and he goes, "Slow down. Have a good day." And I said, "Thank you. You too." He gave me a written warning, and I was off on ready to go, and I'm okay. If you act a fool, you come out of that car, especially people pointing weapons at them. It's like, what do you expect? The cops are here to protect us, to maintain law and order. And with this
Correct.
BLM shit, Adam, ever since the BLM shit has started, and like you said, it has caused such tensions, and the police officers are scared to do their jobs. You could see it's vastly different from it when we were growing up or when we were in our 20s. It's vastly different from then till now. You have these cops pussyfooting, scared to approach people because they're going to be claimed as being racist or whatever the case may be. And the cops are retiring. Nobody wants to be a cop these days because nobody, the news especially, doesn't want to report on actually how many officers are killed on the line of duty. You'll never hear a peep about that. They won't riot or loot when a black officer is gunned down, like that lady in Chicago. She had her whole life ahead of her. She literally just, like, what was it? There's a couple of cops actually in Illinois that had just graduated the academy mere weeks before and graduated with honors and everything, were really good human beings, and they're gunned down and no outcry for them. Do you think, like, with BlackRock, right, and Vanguard, who control everything that the media puts out, this narrative to divide, do you think that there's any way that we can combat that? I mean, I don't watch the news. I'm done with it. I don't watch any part of ABC, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. I don't watch any of it. You know, how do we combat these elites, the Black Rocks of the country that rule everything? Where do we even begin?
Well, it's really tricky because they control even these platforms we're on. YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. We've all been nuked from TikTok already. I've been nuked once before.
That's my
I had 50,000 subs. Now I'm at now I'm at almost 90. Second time around. But had I not been nuked the first time, I'd probably be closing in on 250K right now. You know what I'm saying?
same.
Probably been much higher right now. So we're only allowed to be as big on these platforms as they allow us to be. So once we start making too great of an impact, like you were doing, they kick you off. They nuked
Right.
Ben Shapiro. He's actually back now on TikTok, but he was gone. He violated terms and conditions, and he's very mainstream, very clean content. So I don't know what he possibly could have said, but this is what
Facts.
we have to do.
Facts.
We need to we need to create a content on these platforms that's safe enough for us to remain on them. So we have to do a little bit of self-censorship, but we need to have our voices there. We need liberals to see us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter, right? And then what we could do is push them over to the echo chambers of Rumble, where on Rumble we could start doing our more extreme or more radicalized views that will get nuked for on TikTok and Twitter.
Isn't
But
that
that's
sad?
really all we can do right now because
Yeah.
we don't have full free speech on these platforms. We have some free speech. If we if we talked about the election fraud prior to this month, we would have been thrown off of YouTube. But
Yep.
YouTube changed the guidelines a month ago, saying now you can talk about fraud and misinformation, and you can do whatever you want about the 2020 election. I find that very curious why they're allowing us to do that now. I believe the reason why they're allowing us to do it now is because there's an election coming up, and they want the left to be able to say that that election was stolen when Trump wins.
Oh,
They want to make sure that they
absolutely.
can then say the election was fraudulent and shady when Trump pulls off the epic comeback of all time in 2024. And I am truly worried about the state of this country when Trump wins, because I think the left is going to truly cause a civil war and violence and rioting. But I also think that we need to get this out of the way because there's been so much tension building in this country that we kind of have to have it all just kind of like run its course. And I
Yeah.
think a Trump victory is what it's going to take for it to run its course. I
Yeah.
think DeSantis can also help a little bit, but it's got to be Trump to really just flush it all out there.
Now
So,
DeSantis needs I have a feel like you, that's your governor, right? And I
yep.
I I think him running is the stupidest thing that he could do right now, because if he runs and let's say Chris Christie gets it to be your governor, which he ran Democrat, Republican, Independent, he's done all of them. So he's a shapeshifter. He's telling you whatever you want to hear just for a vote. Now, if DeSantis gets out of there, every good thing that he's done couldn't be abolished with the next term, within whoever comes to take his place. I think he needs to sit down and stay where he is to maintain the happiness that everybody has for Florida. And now we have these liberals saying that don't travel to Florida because it's racist. How many times have you been targeted of racism from what side? What
Not,
who
I've only been targeted from racism by liberals. That's the funniest part. Only liberals have told me to go back to my country. If you look at my channel, I got into a debate with a pro-choicer, a black woman. And she said to me, "Where are you from?" I go, "Well, I was born in Mexico." And she says, "Yeah, you people come into our country, try to change things." I go, "Whoa, I'm a citizen here. I'm a
you
naturalized citizen here." She said,
people
"No." She said, "You bring your shit back to where you're from." I was like, "Do you realize how like xenophobic and racist you're being? I don't get this treatment from a Trump supporter ever. It doesn't happen. It only comes from the left." Um, I've also been accused of being an illegal immigrant by leftists, which is crazy to me because they're the ones that are supposed to love illegal immigrants and be on the side of illegal immigrants. And then they're going to call me an illegal, which is double racist because then they're basically saying Mexicans are all illegals, that they can't even fathom that I would be here legally. So that's the only racism I experienced from the left. The right leaves me alone. And let me tell you something. I've lived in very, very heavy hick areas. I've lived in very conservative areas where on my block were the what is it, the southern flag? What's that flag
yeah,
called?
the Confederate flag.
The Confederate flag. I've lived literally in places where on the same block I lived were giant Confederate flags.
That's a thing of the
And that
South.
guy,
It's not
it,
racism though.
correct. That's my point though. That guy was such a gentleman to me. Always said hi to me, always waved to me. He didn't care that I was brown. Nobody cared. So I've lived in
Right.
these like deep, 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 deep red areas in Daytona Beach. I dated a girl in Benel, which is like meth head hick level. Okay, Benel is like where you have underground meth labs. That's how hick it is, and never had a problem there. I was welcome with open arms. People were actually happy to see someone different in their area. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, Florida's great. We're not racist at all. We're a wonderful country, wonderful, wonderful state. I will say that at the Pride Parade, I did not see a single anti-Trump sign, but I did see a lot of anti-DeSantis signs. A lot of people wearing,
Really?
a lot of people wearing "Don't Say DeSantis" shirts. Free states don't ban books, things like that. So DeSantis, while he is very loved here in Florida and he won the midterm by 2 million votes,
Hmm.
um, he's also very hated here as well by the
Well,
left.
then they could leave. They can go to California and have Gavin Newsom as their governor, but I'm sure if they have
But
small businesses, they don't want that. They don't
they don't
want.
leave because their kids are protected here. We have great weather here, and we have no state income tax. So when you look at and rent is actually pretty affordable. Houses are pretty affordable here. I don't care what anyone says. They might have gone up after COVID, but you compare it to New York and LA, you're going to find very affordable options down here for $250,000. And
Right.
speaking of which, I don't know if you know this, but I have my real estate license here in Florida. So if you are looking for a person to help you out, you have me here.
Absolutely, Adam. It is because what's so crazy is that that's what I'm going to school for. And I was like, damn, I'm going to go with Ohio. But then when I move to Florida, I'm going to have to switch my license and go all through it all again.
We
When
don't have we don't have reciprocity with you.
I'm sorry?
We don't have reciprocity with Ohio.
I don't know. I have no
We
idea.
might we might have it. We might have it, which means you might have
I'll
to
have to
get
look. I was looking
yeah.
into that and I didn't get to find out because that would have been really cool. So you can get it here and then it would be valid down in Florida. But I don't know. I have no idea yet. But here's the thing about Florida, right? Now, nowhere in the parental rights law does it say don't say gay. All it says
Correct.
is we don't want our children to be exposed to books like this. Now, this book, had it not have these graphic images in there of sex acts, just stuff that no child needs to see, you might as but there's no difference between giving a child this book or a Penthouse magazine or Hustler magazine. We don't want our kid to read any of it. Okay? We don't want them exposed to this ideology where you could change your gender. Why do we have a book with this on? Why is this in schools and listed for ages 10 and up? Do you think the kids are going to adhere to that? Do you think they're going to say, well, I'm not 10 yet, so I'm not going to take a peek? Thankfully, my son, my littlest one, has not seen this or this other book because if I seen it in his hand, I would probably lose my ever loving mind. But, you know, same in Ohio, we protect our kids here. We do have state income tax. We don't have hurricanes. So it's really hard to make the leap. But I think, like you said, after COVID, the interest rates, after the Inflation Reduction Act, after the May 1st act tax, what was it? It's a new law that Biden signed in and it went into effect May 1st that anybody with good credit now has to pay a fee that the people with bad credit don't have to pay when they go for a mortgage, which doesn't make any sense to me because there is no mortgage company or bank on this planet, no matter what you look like. If you don't have collateral, if you don't have good credit, you are not getting a loan. So it can't be racism. It can't be anything of the sort. You don't meet the criteria in order to get the loan. So that was the this administration's way to say all of your hard work, all of your on-time bill paying, your triple and quadruple the minimum payments that you've made to stay on time and on task with all of your bills means absolutely nothing. We're going to penalize you and make you pay these fees. which really sucks. And our interest rates suck really bad right now for mortgages, car loans. I can
Yeah,
remember
what is it,
when
like 7% for an interest rate?
some 8, they want 8% interest. And
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
going,
It shut up.
wait, what? I remember when interest rate, if you looked at 3.5, you were like, you can do better than that. You know what I mean? It's like, wait
Right.
a second, why are you penalizing people because, oh, it's the wealth redistribution? They don't redistribute their wealth. They don't send their money over to Ukraine or China or wherever the Bidens are sending our money to. They don't take their wealth and redistribute it to poorer people. They want socialism, they want communism, but why don't they spend their money? And that's the thing about President Trump, that a lot of people have this misconception. President Trump didn't make a damn thing. He earned $1 his whole presidency. Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, they all gained substantial wealth being
Well,
president.
his net worth went down. His net worth dropped from being president.
Right. And he donated
Everybody
all
else,
of it. Yeah. It's
you know,
insane. Barack Obama, before his first term, before he was elected, this is why I wanted change. I wanted differently. That's why I voted for him twice. You guys had your chance. You screwed up. Obama, I'll never forget, because I was a victim of this myself. The bank bailout of 20, what was it, 2012? Maybe, I think. He bailed out all of the banks when a lot of the banks gave predatory loans out, knowing that these people can't afford it. Your adjustable mortgage rates, your balloon payments, then, to refinance, it's not happening because now you're late on your payments and you need to refinance, but you can't. I was a victim of that. They foreclosed on my house. And who did he bail out? Not the American people, but the banks. A lot of people lost their homes with Barack Obama. That made me lose a lot of faith in him and Joe Biden, because he was right along with Barack Obama in bailing out the institutions. And it was really sad because, okay, yeah, you get donation money and campaign money from these large banks, but what about the American people that you promised to do better for, and you couldn't do that? So my after the Obama administration, I was done with Democrats. I was like, you know what? Y'all had your chance. You screwed up. And I was really excited for Trump to get in here and, make America great again. He took that slogan from
yeah.
Ronald Reagan, and we were
That's
all
right.
doing better. Now the liberals will say, no, we weren't. No, we weren't. Yeah, we were. Our gas was
No,
cheaper.
what they'll say is they'll say that was the Obama economy. That's what they'll say. They'll say that, oh, whatever Trump's great economy was actually Obama's, and Biden's economy is actually Trump's. That's what they say. That's their
Oh,
logic.
yeah, because it's blame Trump
Yep.
for everything, and anything good that he did, it's Obama's. Obama wasn't here. Obama wasn't in office making the policies that Trump did. That Joe Biden undid everything the second day he was in office. By the second day, it's preposterous anymore. America has been put last. Our country, I don't know about you in Florida there, but you guys were the mecca of treatment centers back when Obama was the president and the opiate crisis hit. Did you notice that? How we invade Afghanistan, how the Taliban, we take control of the poppy fields. The poppy fields went from like 83 square miles to well over 1,000 square miles after the United States gained control of the poppy fields. That is when our large opiate epidemic really hit. And then Purdue Pharma markets OxyContin as the sixth vital sign cure of chronic pain, get all of America addicted to these pain pills, and then shut it all down. Everyone starts doing heroin. This is what happened. And then now heroin has been replaced with fentanyl, which comes from China, goes to Mexico, right? They ship it to Mexico. And then Mexico, the cartels make the fentanyl pills, the presses that make them look like Perk 30s, and they distribute fentanyl all across our land. 300 Americans every day die from fentanyl. Why aren't we closing that damn border? What do you think Biden's main objective for keeping our border wide open for? What the hell is he doing?
Well, they need new voters. It's the voter replacement theory. When people wake up to the mainstream media's lies, they typically end up becoming Republicans, right? The more research you do into politics, the more likely you are to become right winger, which is what happened to me. I used to be left wing, now I'm right wing. So as they lose these voters, they need to have new voters come in, which is why they want open borders. Now, I've actually done a lot of oxy this year.
Well, you have a
I've also had fentanyl this year, in the context of a hospital setting.
right.
I want to be very clear. I got fentanyl when I was getting a surgery, so the doctors knew what they were doing. It was hospital grade fentanyl, and I've had about probably 30 oxycontins in the past year. Let me tell you something. That drug is fucking incredible. Okay, I was going through this pain in my knee. It blew up. They did a biopsy on my knee. They couldn't figure out what the hell was wrong with my knee. But I was in the most pain of my life where I could not walk. And the only drug that worked was Oxycontin. I would take some of those. I would be in this amazing mental state of bliss. And I realized how addicting these drugs could be. These
Very.
drugs could be so fucking addicting. There's, I used to smoke weed. It's not like that. It's a whole different thing where it just takes over your entire body. You feel so relaxed that you want to sleep, but you also don't want to sleep because you want to stay awake to enjoy that feeling. So it's like this just crazy high that I loved. But guess what? I didn't get addicted because I have self control and self awareness. Thank God.
Well,
But I will say it is amazing.
it in a setting where you need it, it's amazing. But here's the thing with the opiates. Now I see how I've lived how to see how destructive they are. And I'll tell you what, it's like a mother's warm hug when or the softest cashmere blanket wrapped around you when you have it. And when you don't, it is the daddy's open hand slap. And it's the most pain that you're ever going to feel is that demon leaving your body. And your brain is saying, because we have opiate receptors, pain receptors in our brains, and that medication or the opiates, when you ingest them, it gives you all of those the serotonin and the dopamine rush, and that tricks your brain to think, hey, listen, there's pain that's not really there. It's hyper analgesia. It's called hyper analgesia or analgesia or something, where your brain tricks itself to say that there's more pain there is, but all you need is one pill and it'll get you through. And your brain literally will make your whole body and your central nervous system go through those withdrawals and physical withdrawals. You're lucky that you didn't experience that, because I've had 8 years of dealing with I don't know how many
Yeah, dude.
withdrawals that I've had, but it was enough to keep me caged and in prison within my own body and doing things that I'm not proud of for that drug, whether it be stealing, selling my body. It was bad, Adam. I don't wish that on anybody. And Florida was the mecca for treatment centers because it's money. They would actually make you give you drugs at these treatment centers to fail a drug test, because every failed drug test netted them money. There's the fentanyl, the opiates in general, treatment centers, it's a cash cow, it's a cash grab. And what sucks is I'll never forget the video of this mother lost both of her sons, and she's crying to Joe Biden, like begging him, please close the border. Please close the border. I lost my two sons to fentanyl. She's sobbing, and he laughs and chuckles in her face. I'm going, if
That's
Donald
yeah.
Trump did
It's
that,
it's a disgrace.
yeah. If Donald
It's a
Trump did
disgrace. I
that,
mean, this is the same man that looked at his. It's the same man that looked at his watch when the fallen Afghanistan soldiers were at the funeral. This
yeah.
man looked at his watch as if he had somewhere else better to be, and he's the man that sent them to their deaths. So he has no respect for anybody. He doesn't know how to show respect to anybody except his son Hunter. And I also want to say that you look so amazing that I'm surprised and shocked to hear your story that you were down a very dark path in your previous life.
Oh,
I mean, you
big
look absolutely
time.
amazing today. So
Thank you so much.
congratulations on the recovery.
Thank you. It was the worst ride of my life. And again, I've done things that I'm not particularly proud of. But hey, if I have this platform let me show you guys where I used to be, just so you don't feel so alone. And I know in addiction, people feel really alone. They feel guilt and shame, and they're stealing or selling their bodies. So they're guilty and they're shameful for that. And then they go use drugs to cover up that guilt and shame and remorse, and then you use and you have more guilt and shame and remorse added on top of the already guilt, shame, and remorse you already have for getting your drugs by any means necessary. And that cycle keeps continuing, where you're just in this constant state of disarray. It's a terrible lifestyle. And if I have this platform, I could show people you could go from this to where I am today. You just have to have, like you said, have that strong will and that mentality. Like, I am now, instead of a victim of my circumstances, I am victorious. I can get through anything, and I can deal with life on life's terms without having to use drugs. It's very simple. It would be very simple for me to say, screw it, F it, have the case of the fuckets, and go ahead and use drugs again. So I don't have to feel, so I don't have to deal with life. So I don't have to deal with the stressors that I have. Hell no. Because when I almost died the second time, it was a second near fatal overdose out of the 6 that I had. The second near fatal was because I was sober for a while. I went to jail because I was on probation for this big drug case that they wrapped up all of these people in Cleveland. And 93 person indictment, Operation Clean Sweep, it was called. I called the drug dealer, and that was the evidence that they had to convict me with 5 felonies, but they dropped them to 2. And I was on probation. I violated probation. I was sitting in jail for 2 months. Then I go to treatment for 2 months. I get out and I go to a meeting. I see my friend Hi. And I was like, oh, that looks really fun. Give me a phone number, bro, because I don't got no more phone numbers. It's been about 4 or 5 months. And so I get fentanyl unknowingly. I do a teeny tiny bit, not like that common misconception that, oh, these addicts, they get sober for a while and then they use the same amount that they were using before. And that's what gets them dead. No, the fentanyl is what I was not used to, because before I went to jail, it was all heroin. And then, it seems like overnight, the heroin was replaced with this fentanyl, which is 50 times more potent than morphine or heroin. 50
Yeah.
times more likely to die than you are if you had heroin. So I got that. It almost killed me. And that was actually Halloween night of 2014. And so at midnight, I was like, I'm declaring this my day of sobriety, and nobody on this planet will take that away from me. And from that point on, November 1st,
It's
2014,
amazing.
I'll tell you what, best decision I ever made. It was the best decision. Best believe me, Adam, life has shit on me in the meantime. Did I use? No. I faced my problems head on. Was it more painful because I had to face my problems? Yes, it was. But I don't have the guilt and the shame and the remorse because I didn't use. People have to realize that
Right.
you already feel all this, and you think that giving yourself these substances, whether it be alcohol or drugs, you think that that's numbing you, but in actuality, it's just creating more problems for you. So I'll never do that again. That's for damn sure.
Do you
Just
still drink alcohol anymore?
no, not really.
You're completely sober.
Well,
That's good. That's amazing. I don't
I'll
drink that
have
much anymore either.
a couple sips here and there, but like, it's not really my thing. Wine gives me a headache, beer gives me a headache. Liquor, I don't drink anymore because, like, I made a fool of myself a couple of years ago with Fireball. So I'll never do that again. Right. So, yeah, it's just a whole lifestyle change. I'm not like this holistic person that I only ingest like herbs and spices and all that. And I don't take care of my body as well as I should with all the coffee I drink and the vapes that I smoke. But hey, I ain't putting a needle in my arm anymore, and I'm definitely a lot better off than I was years ago. So it's been a fun ride, and I urge people, if I can do it, you can, because I was one of the biggest fuck ups that you'd ever meet.
Wow.
Scumbag,
I would
man.
never be able to tell.
Yeah,
I would never be able to tell.
it was insane. It was insane. All right, Adam, I'm gonna cut off here. because I have to go to the bathroom real quick. Do you want to talk with people really quick in the comments, and then I'll come back on? Is that okay with
Sure. Are
you?
there comments? Are there comments coming in?
Yeah, they're on. Do you see them on the left hand side at all? Can you see them,
Let
or
me
on the
see.
right? On the right.
Oh, I see some comments.
There you go. Here, I'm gonna flip me off for a second. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and I'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Sure, sure, sure. All right, guys.
All right,
Hello.
guys.
I guess I've taken over her channel. And let's see. We got Andrea Murray saying we do have open borders. Government says 6 million so far in Biden's term, probably more like.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! His phone overheated. Oh no! Sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. So Adam's phone has overheated. He's back. Adam, what happened to your phone? It overheated. Uh, here, let it cool off. Run it on the air conditioner. Run it on the air conditioner for a couple of minutes, and then make sure it cools down because you don't want that stuff to blow up. How is everybody? Let's go with the new comments here. All right. I get the notification. I was like dicking around upstairs. I was like, I'm gonna let my dog go outside, and I have to wash my hands and stuff like that. So I was like, well, let's give Adam the floor for a second, because I had to go to the bathroom really bad. I was about to burst at the seams. And he says, I got my phone overheated. So I'm gonna let him cool his phone down for a little bit and then come back. There he is. He's back. Guess who's back? Back again.
Yo, yeah, my phone overheated. That's crazy. Just as I
No.
was getting into the comments, it just turned off completely.
Oh my goodness. There's my friend Kelly. Look at that. Look at that ass. All that ass. Look at that ass. All that ass.
Oh, there you go. That's a tight. That's a tight ass. Tight.
Isn't it? You don't know who Flor Janssen is, Kelly. She wants me to tattoo her initials on my neck, and she's my internet girlfriend. But she doesn't know who Flor Janssen is, so this will never work. She's the lead singer of Nightwish, which I think it's their birthday today, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check my calendar. I think is it tomorrow? When is Nightwish's birthday? Is it in July? thought it was in June. I said Nightwish's birthday. Well, it was in here. Oh, no, I don't know. I guess I missed it. So, okay, let's bring up your channel real quick, Adam. I want to show everybody your channel so people can subscribe to you and make sure that you guys are following Adam. He's got TikTok, he's got Twitter, he's got YouTube's, of course. Boop. This is the what be free my sheep. That's so funny
So,
because
so I made that. My website is actually befreemysheeple.com. I made that name about like 6 years ago.
uh-huh.
And at the time, I was more focused on helping people escape the 9 to 5 job.
Okay.
And I was very against corporate work, and I was very against marriage. So the Be Free My Sheeple was basically telling people to stay single and free, make your own career, make your own money, don't work for a boss, don't have vacation days because every day should be a vacation day. And I was very scared to enter politics. But then with COVID and BLM, I pivoted over to politics because I was like, yo, there needs to be a Latin voice, a Mexican voice in the space. There wasn't one. There was blacks and there were whites, but there was really no Latinos doing conservative type content. So I
No, there's
pivoted
not.
I pivoted Be Free My Sheeple over to political stuff. So that's the background of that.
What a great word. Pivot. Pivot.
Yep,
Make sure
that's
you,
right.
you move in the right direction.
You pivoted your life too from a hardcore drug user to
I
look at you
did.
now. A very successful YouTuber with 300,000 subs. It's absolutely amazing what you've done on YouTube.
It's I don't think I'm very successful. I think, I grinded in, the numbers show it. If you grind and if you dedicate your social life to YouTube, this is what could happen.
You have a plaque. You got the plaque.
Yeah, it's right there. Do you
It's
see it?
amazing. Wait,
Hold
what
on.
are those dates? What's that on my page? Those charts.
Oh, that's our stats, yours and mine.
Oh wow. What is that like a app we used?
That is like views, what your views are compared to, like, you can go on other YouTubers. Um,
Is that
like
Social Blade?
I don't know what it is. I don't it's comparing your stats. So I can,
Wow.
like, this is my friend. No, I'm not gonna pull up Mr. L Boyd's, or Mr. If I put up my friend Mr. L Boyd's, he tanks me, and Mr. Beast tanks us all because
Yeah,
he's
of
got
course.
like,
We don't even show up compared to him.
I know. If I had that much money, I would be giving it away. Like,
I mean, I just want to be clear to people. I am very shadow banned on YouTube, and I actually emailed them a couple months ago asking them to
yeah,
lift the shadow ban, and they sent me back like this 5-page email trying to prove to me that I'm not shadow banned, but I know I
really.
am.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
it's so obvious. There's 50,000 subs and I get 1,000 views on a video. There's something going on because when I first started doing YouTube prior to the 2020 election, I would post a video and I would get 50, 60,000 views to my videos. So you're telling me that after 3 years of growing my audience from 0 to 55K, I'm now getting 1% of the views I got when I first started?
Well,
That makes no sense.
here's the thing. Now, I will agree with you on that. Absolutely. Now, when you reach these certain milestones in the YouTube universe, right? They will, and this is important. Whoa, I hate that up close and personal. Hi, see every flaw that I have. Uh, on the YouTube, you reach these certain milestones, like your first would be like a 5,000 or 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20, then 50. Now, that's when they suggest you more. But if you are not following their guidelines and if you're not, got some brown stuff on your nose, they're not going to push your content, which really sucks because I've been shadow banned before. Like, the first video I've ever gotten shadow banned on was Dax propaganda. I'll never forget it because I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why isn't this YouTube video doing better? Because it's a very good song, but this was going against everything that they stand for. So they do shadow ban people on here, and what sucks is like you were talking about the conservatives on here. Those are really the only voices that get silenced and shadow banned and or community guidelines violations when they lifted that lift with the fraud. I don't even like to say it still because I'm like,
I know.
but when they lifted that ban, my friend Bianca, she is married to a YouTuber named King Blitz, and I got to meet with them last year in Atlanta. It was so much fun. We had a blast. We rented out this massive Airbnb in Georgia. It was so
Really.
cool. And we were living the Cartier family came and everything. It was a lot of fun to get to meet these people. It was just a good time, and I developed really strong friendships with them. And Asia and BJ were there. King Blitz was there with Queen Bee, and Mr. L Boyd's was there. And that's one of my I love him. He's such a sweetheart. He knows a lot about YouTube, you know and he tells me everything that they do. There is a list of words that you cannot have in the first 8 seconds of your video. Well,
Yep.
that, throughout your video, mainly. If you can't swear, you can't put it in your titles. There's certain trigger words on YouTube that you cannot say, and they will not push your videos. And it's sad because at 50,000 subscribers, you should be pushed into the algorithms, and it sucks because if you were liberal, if I was a liberal, I would be able to say whatever I want, you know.
Correct.
It's really sad. It sucks because this platform, December of 2020, was given the Free Speech Award. They also sponsor that event. They sponsor this event, and they were given the Free Speech Award. The following day, there was like 9 million videos that were deleted off of YouTube right after they were given that award. And it was like, wait a minute, why are you censoring people? I get it. There's soft ass people in the world today that can't handle being offended. It's like the worst thing. If they hear one word that offends them, they're going to crumble. I get it. I'm sorry for them. Tough titty, but why are you censoring people? It really sucks because I think everybody deserves to have a voice. We all have
Yep.
one for a reason. Unless you're Helen Keller, motherfucker, you should be able to say what you want.
That's right.
So, liberal privilege. I think Sean hit it on the head. We see that with TikTok too. Like Adam here, well, over here, Adam was the first person to tell me that my TikTok was nuked. He messaged me. I think you messaged me on Twitter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, wait, what just happened? And so,
Because I
yeah,
went to message you and it said this user's not available. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I literally just connected with her and now you're gone. It's
yeah,
crazy.
because that's how I got to message Adam because I saw your video on the Dunkin' Donut shit. It was so crazy. Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, man, that ain't fair. And then to call you the names that you were called, it was terrible. Now, you don't see anybody on the conservative right saying that to them and starting shit. It's always in defense. You have to defend yourself. And if you do defend yourself, you're called all these terrible phobes. And it's like, shut up
Hmm.
already. Just stop. The words don't mean shit anymore. You have literally destroyed the word racism. You've literally destroyed the word xenophobe. You've literally destroyed the word transphobe and homophobe. It's been obliterated. It's been overplayed so much that it doesn't matter anymore. Call me whatever the hell you want to. If you're going to
And
call
then
me,
also,
go ahead.
yeah, also the word Nazi because they call people Nazis that they don't like. And I'm Jewish.
Fascist.
So it's pretty funny when they call me a Nazi. I'm like, yo, I'm Jewish though. So how am I a Nazi? Like the
Isn't that
Nazis want to
funny?
kill me. The Nazis want to kill me. I'm brown and Jewish. Like people. And
Yeah.
for those of you watching who want to know why I'm Jewish, I was born in Mexico, Guadalajara, but I was adopted at birth by a Jewish family from New York City. Jewish mother, Christian father. My mom was Russian and Sicilian, Italian, and
Orthodox.
my dad is mostly English. So I did celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah growing up. I'm not religious. I don't practice, but I do identify as Jewish because I was bar mitzvahed.
Oh,
And
good.
yeah, it also makes me unique when it comes to being a Mexican Jew. So,
Right. You
you know,
very
that's
are.
why. Yeah, so people call me a jalapeño. Do you get it?
Challah
Challah
bread.
bread
Yes. Yes,
and
I do.
jalapeno combined. So they call me the jalapeño. Um, but no, I don't run the world. I'm not an elitist.
God, don't you wish
Just
we were?
I wish I was. I wish the conspiracy theory about Jews running everything was true, because I'd like to be a lot richer than I am. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm not. So don't let the conspiracy theorists fool you. Most Jews are just regular people like me.
I know a lot of Jewish people and that they're definitely not ruling the world and evil and conniving. It's crazy.
Right.
It's
Most
like
of us aren't.
you want to
There
blame
are
everybody.
there are some elitists that are Jewish, and there are some elitists that aren't Jewish. That's just the reality. And in general, people are very tribal in nature. So once one person gets to a point in their career, they want to elevate other people that are similar to them in their career. That's why you might have a Jewish CEO hire a lot of other Jewish executives in his company. Or if you have
Yeah.
a Filipino CEO, then you'll find that he has high level Filipino people in his company, because people want to be surrounded by people that they look like. That's just that's just biology.
It's just life.
So that's just life, you know? So I don't really put a lot of things into that conspiracy theory about Jewish people. I really don't. Um,
I don't either.
I
I don't
also
buy into
wanted
the
to
whole I
say,
never did buy into that.
I also want to say that this is also very controversial. But when it comes to Israel, of course I stand with Israel. It's the only Jewish country in the world. So
Right.
I will stand with Israel. However, with that said, do I think Israel is always the good guy? Absolutely not. I've seen so many videos on the internet of really deplorable, disgusting behavior by Israeli people against
Yeah.
the Palestinians. I've seen them bomb the only school for Palestinians in like that area. And now these Palestinian kids have no school to study in.
It's
And it's like,
sad.
it's really sad. I've seen Israelis march calling death for Palestinians. I've also seen Palestinians call for death for Israelis. So I've
Yeah.
seen bad behavior on both sides. So I'm a Jewish person who does support Israel. I support the existence of Israel, but they do bad things too, just like the U.S. I love America. I love the U.S., but we've done a lot of bad shit in our history. You know, you go back to the Vietnam War. There was a an army guy. I don't even remember the name. We could look it up and find it.
My dad
Who
fought in Vietnam. My biological dad did.
my
Yeah,
dad too.
both twice.
But they went to a small village of like 1,000 people, where they gunned down men, women, and children. They raped the women. They raped the young girls. And it was only until an American helicopter pilot turned his own gun onto his own American soldiers and said, "Stand down. This is not why we're here to rape and kill children. We're
Right.
here to fight a war and protect the innocent." And he ended up winning, I think, a Purple Heart for doing that decades later, of course. And now, if you go to that village in Vietnam, that man to this day is hailed a hero because he saved the lives of innocent Vietnamese people from evil American soldiers.
Right. Yeah.
So
There's evil in any
we,
race. There's evil in any
right.
man, women. Anybody's capable of being evil. Anybody.
And it's the same thing when it comes to the whole grooming conversation with trans and the gay community. Not all gay and trans are groomers. A lot of them stand against the nonsense and the pride parades because it's all kink and nudity. And
Yeah.
just as there are a lot of straight people that are groomers as well. So I don't like when people are painting with a broad brush. We have to acknowledge that there are bad Republicans, there are bad Democrats, there are good Republicans, there are good Democrats. So, you know, I try to keep that open mind when it comes to this kind of stuff. And ultimately, I do think Trump is a good guy, and I'm going to keep fighting for him until the next election.
I think that's amazing, and you have to take care of your health first and foremost, though, Adam. Make sure that you're doing like you. I liked how we opened up this conversation, and you said most importance is go to the doctor once a year. Check your blood because that's going to tell everything, and that's so true. I love how you said that, and I love how you continue to be a warrior because you believe in this. You literally see it. You saw through it. You lived your life this way, and you saw it wasn't the way. And so, hey, listen, I'm going to be a conservative because I was also pro-choice before, and now I'm not. I'm pro-life, 100%. I don't
Me
believe
too.
that abortion is health care, especially when there are hundreds of thousands of babies. That is not all health care. Sorry, it is just not. And I wanted
It's
Trump.
hate care. It's
It
hate
is.
care.
Yeah. I wanted President Trump to win because I was so sick and tired of the political machine. I'm so sick of it. Okay, good. He used to be a Democrat and now he's not. He's a Republican. He decided to run Republican. And so the Republicans are now hated. And it sucks because we should be voting for who's better for our country as a whole. We were in a
Hmm.
lot better shape economically and financial, just all around. I know people have Trump derangement syndrome and they were not better when he was in office, but don't think about yourself for a change. Think about America as a whole. Since Biden has came in, he has destroyed this country from within our own border. People neglect to see that. And I agree with you that there are good Republicans, good Democrats. There's some bad Republicans, some bad Democrats. We have to
Yep.
vote for who's best for our entire country, not just our feelings. And I think so many people voted based off emotions, and now look at what we're dealing with.
My,
Continue to fight.
my opinion is none of us are sinless. All of us, every single one of us watching this has a conversation on Facebook that we've had or through text message that if it got leaked, we would feel that our world is ending. We've all
Yeah,
said something highly inappropriate at some point in our lives, which is why I don't put much stock in the personal mistakes of politicians. I care more about their political policies and the impact they have on the country,
right.
which is why I'm very forgiving of things like Donald Trump saying, "I grab him by the pussy." I don't really care about that.
I don't either.
You know,
I don't
he
either.
didn't actually do it. He didn't actually do it. There's no video of it. He was speaking rhetorically,
Locker, right.
locker room
Locker
talk.
room talk, right.
But
I just
meanwhile, we see Hunter Biden
with
fucking
hookers,
hookers,
with hookers.
drugs, drugs. There's a conspiracy that one of those girls is Molly
Under
Obama. There's a conspiracy,
I saw
uh,
that.
right? It's out of control, and we see it with our own eyes. So there's a big difference between what Trump has said and what the Biden family has done. And
Fact.
and we got to get Trump back. That's it.
Well, let Hunter Biden be Eric or Donnie Jr. and
Be
let them
over.
switch. Yeah, we would be calling
Be
for
over.
them to be burned at the stake right now. Let's not
That's right.
even get it twisted. So
That's
I'm
right.
glad that you see that. I'm glad you're fighting. I'm look forward to meeting you in person in a couple of weeks. I don't know how it's not that long away. A couple more weeks and I'll be down in Florida, which I love it. I love it. I was already pre-approved for a loan. So I really want to look towards, but the HOAs
Yeah,
kill me.
I have a guy also. If you need to talk to him, he can also get you pre-approved as well down here.
Cool. 27 more days and I'll be down. The HOAs kill me in Florida. Some are like 300 a month, some are $3 a month. I see this on Zillow all the
Yeah,
time. I'm going,
yeah.
wait, what? How can they be $3 a month? I don't get that. Some are $50 a month, some are 150 a month. It's crazy. What the
Well,
hell?
I'm going to say this: we can work to find you HOAs that fit your budget. We can get them really low if you want.
I don't want
I have
any.
access. I have access to MLS, so if you want, we could sit down and we could actually look at MLS, which is more accurate than anything else.
Well,
That's the
yeah,
actual buy
that's a
sell
listing.
platform.
Yeah,
Yes.
the MLS, a lot of the good homes here in Ohio, in my city. Let me tell you something. Before they even hit the MLS, they're being sold. It's so
Mm.
crazy. Our real estate has exploded here. It's so crazy. It's like, oh my God, how is this possible that people are offering 50,000 over listing? It was just to get in
It's
the
it's it's
door.
it's BlackRock and it's the Chinese investors, because a lot of Chinese families pool their money together,
Yeah.
and three or four families will buy something in just straight cash. So you have Chinese families, and you also have immigrant families, and you have BlackRock and Vanguard buying it as investment properties. So,
Insane, and that drives
yeah.
up the rental
Yep.
prices for everybody, and that is why we are in the position that we're in today.
Hmm.
So, I appreciate that you're smart and smarty pants. You're smart and witty about yourself that and it's like if you guys don't know, you should probably find out. And this is the whole reason why I took the political approach. Now I had lost a couple subs, but I've gained so many more back. Adam, it's been crazy because I don't want to push hate. I'm not saying hate speech, I'm saying the truth. And again, that leave children alone has that. Wait a minute. When does that make me a bigot? I don't know. But I like how you said that as well. Like, how don't, please don't think that all gays and lesbians and even trans people are in on this pushing agenda to kids because no, they're not, and I love that you
Right.
said that because it's the truth. It is. And there are more straight people that are allies to LGBTQIA plus that are the ones pushing the agendas, especially these activists who are educators who have become indoctrinators. And that's really crazy how the world has gotten. Like you would think that the schools would vet, but a lot of them are getting paid off by these social credit score companies. And we have to stop it and say enough is enough. I don't care what demographic you are. I don't care if you're white, if you're black, if you're Hispanic, if you're Asian. I don't care if you are purple. As long as we're on the same page that parents have rights and children are not able to make these types of decisions. The liberals, in the same breath, they say, well, this kid can't be charged for murder because his brain isn't fully developed until he's 25. But in the same breath, they'll say a 7-year-old can pick their gender or it doesn't make any damn sense. So how can I stay with that side, Adam? I can't.
Can't.
Consciously, I know it's wrong. I know it's wrong to target children. I know as a victim of a childhood sexual abuse, this was a straight man too, and his son. I know what kind of everlasting effects that has on somebody to expose them to pornography and everything else this young. It really does a number on people and
Yeah.
not in a good way. So, I couldn't consciously stay liberal. I had to and after Obama was done, that was it. I'm done. And I am not ashamed. And yeah, we all grow as human beings, and nobody can cast any stones because we all live in glass houses. I just think we need to cancel culture in its entirety because they have literally ruined this country, the free speech in this country. Even if you don't like what somebody has to say, you can't declare it as hate speech if you don't like it. If you don't like
Correct.
it, don't listen to it. Scroll
Right.
past. They can't do it. My goodness, they can't do it. All right, Adam, I got to head out and get my kiddos. Thank you for coming on. I really look forward to meeting you in person, and it's going to be fun. Yeah, sell me a house.
Do you have a car? Do you have a car? Are you gonna have a car here?
Yeah, I have a rental.
Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, cool. I was gonna say I'll pick you up at the airport if you need, but looks like you're all set up.
Yeah, I got a rental car. I went bougie this time. I was
Good for
going
you.
in
You
style
need
this
you need a
time.
car in Florida. You
I
need a
know how
car
to
down here.
I know how y'all drive down there,
Yeah,
especially on the what is it, the 95?
I think
I know
that's the
that
90. Yeah, the 95.
but going through Orlando.
Yeah, yeah,
Jesus, y'all crazy.
yeah.
Crazy,
Well, I'll
crazy,
see you.
crazy.
I'll see you in a few weeks, and thanks again for following me. And as you guys know, I'm going through kidney failure right now. So if you guys want to support my health journey, I do have a Give Send Go, and all you got to do is just type in Adam Francisco, Give Send Go,
I'm gonna
Adam
pull it up real
Francisco.
quick. Give, send,
Yeah,
go.
givesendgo.com/Adam Francisco.
I'm gonna pull you
And
up real quick.
and the only reason why I have this is because I'm hospitalized so often. I'm plugged into a machine 11 hours a night, and I have to take a nap every day for about 2 to 3 hours. So when you think about it, I'm only awake out of my bed 8 hours a day, and as a result, I can't have a full time job. I can't even have a consistent part time job because my hours are very unpredictable because it's all based on how I'm actually feeling, like a liberal.
Oh
It's all
my
based on how I
god.
feel. But there's my Give Send Go.
Here, I'll link
I
it
think
up in here. I'll give you
I'm like ten.
some.
I'm like 10% to goal right now, which is okay. There's no rush for me to get that. This is more of a yearly goal for me to just be able to just live my life. And
Well, do you want to be able to keep bringing content and keep fighting for the greater
that's
good?
part of it. I don't think people realize, like, when you're a YouTuber and you're trying to create new content and you're trying to have props and print up posters and things like that, these costs add up. And then even the gas money getting to places, all of this just costs money. And unfortunately, when you're shadow banned, you don't get the money that you really should be getting. I wish I was making a couple thousand a month from YouTube. I'm not. I'm making a couple $100. So
Yeah.
it's really not where it should be. So that's why we depend on our supporters like you guys to
Let me take
to
this
to,
off.
to support our content financially. Because brands will work with us. We're not going to get Procter and Gamble and Nike to sponsor our content. They never will. And the
No.
amount of conservative brands that are out there that are willing to give us money, there's not a lot of them. So you guys become our sponsors, which in a way makes us uncancelable. So support Jen in any way you guys can. Support me if you can. We appreciate you. Get your health checked and vote for Trump.
Well, I'm donating to you real quick. I can't have people see my credit card information while we're on
Oh, I know.
stream,
I
right?
know. Well,
I'll
thank
do
you. I appreciate you guys.
that. Here we are. Next, because I know what it's like to have all kinds of health problems. Oh, what do you mean my security code is wrong? Oh my.
It's all good.
Okay. Hold on a
Well,
second. No, it's Oh, I'm sorry. I did put it in wrong. They're right. They're right. They're right. I have so many credit cards, Adam. It's not even funny. There you go. Done. Donated. There we go.
my
All right.
dogs say thank you.
Ha, puppies. Hi. You guys are so damn cute.
Is that your phone?
Aw. Hi,
It's your
puppers.
phone.
Adam, I wish you all of the best. I will see you, keep in contact with you. Did I give you my phone number? I think I did. Did I give
Yeah,
you my
I
phone
mean, I
number?
might have it. I might have it. But send it again on Twitter or something.
Yeah, I'll send it on Twitter now so you can text me
All
because
right.
it's easier. It's so hard for me to answer emails and messages online. I suck at it. I'm one of the worst. Not
Agree.
gonna lie.
Me too.
All right, I'll talk to you soon, Adam.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Damn, you learn something new every day. Like, I literally did not know that he had all of these health problems with his kidneys. I really didn't until today. And then he told me, and I was like, oh my. We often take for granted this is exactly what I told Adam. We take our bodies and our health for granted every day. And then you get the bombshell and the news that you didn't anticipate and your whole life changes. So if you guys can help out, I'd really appreciate it. Adam, I know would appreciate it even more. It's not easy to have to be plugged into a machine for 11 hours. My goodness, I could never imagine. So I'm absolutely if it's if it's medical expenses and stuff like that to help, psh, I got you. I think too many times people abuse the GoFundMe's and the Give Send Goes for frivolous things. And when somebody is dealing with a health crisis and a terminal disease, they need the help more than, I don't know, let's say Johnny needs a new pair of shoes. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful to be able to do this. And I'm grateful that Adam came on. And, he's a Trump supporter. Yes, he is. But as you can see, he's a good man. And this is why I chose to bring him on today. Stop looking at who they vote for and see them as the human beings that they are. Now, conservatives, why can't, liberals act like conservatives? Why can conservatives look past political differences, but liberals, if you find out somebody's a Trump supporter, you think it's okay that you tell the people on the Dunkin' Donuts speaker that we got a Trumper here in hopes that I don't know what that guy hoped was going to happen to Adam, but that is ridiculous. It's absurd. And that's the perfect example of how they act. I highly recommend if you act like that, stop it. Stop it and start seeing people for the people that they are and start judging them based off of their character instead of their political views. All right, y'all. I have to go pick up my little guy. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you guys. Next podcast, we will be featuring Scott Nugent. Also, gosh, do I even have to? Let me make sure I got confirmation first. He did say yes, but we haven't agreed on a date yet. It is next week, but I have to see if he Twittered me back yet. Because if he did, he has not yet. So I don't want to put it out there. He's huge. I just want you to know he's very viral. He's very funny. He is a smartass. He is one of the most uh comical geniuses ever. And again, he's absolutely amazing to come on and give me time out of his busy schedule, but I will let you know who that is once I get confirmation. It was already agreed. We just got to agree on a day and time. I will let you guys know at least a week in advance, but I'm really grateful for what I have here today. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for this platform, even though people get shadow banned and censored left and right. Still, this platform on YouTube is one of the best things that has ever happened to me. And I will never be ungrateful for that or for you guys. I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you again. Please go support Adam. Even if you can't donate, share his donation link. Go subscribe to his channel because that's free. I understand that times are tough for everybody right now, but you know what? He needs it more than I do. Okay. I'm not dealing with a terminal illness. He is. So I'll be grateful for that, right? I'm grateful that I'm healthy and happy. And yeah. All right, guys. I appreciate you again. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. You better stay kind, stay humble, be able to look past your differences and start judging people based off of their characters, please. It's not that hard. Just don't be a dick. Right? See you guys. Love you all. Bye now. Oh, cat, shut up. I love you, though.